Okay, today we are going to all together draw a realistic piece of candy corn based on this oil painting. Um, in your sketchbook, using an ultrafine Sharpie, I need you to write the goal. Your goal today is to draw realistic candy corn using different values. We are going to use pencil first. We're always sketching lightly. We're going to end up erasing a lot of these lines. So what I'm basing this drawing off of is this large piece of candy corn in the foreground. So you'll notice that this candy corn is basically the shape of a triangle. However, the edges are a lot smoother. There's not harsh edges or corners on that. Going through the assembly line and being packaged, it loses those hard edges. So you can start with a triangle, but then you want to round off those edges. So usually about 50 to 60% of my lines are erased. So I'm drawing extremely light. So I know it might be hard for you to see, but you're all just going to sketch this along with me. So I did a basic triangle shape for the top with rounded edges, and then this point here is actually almost flat. You know, there's not really a point there. Now I'm going to be drawing this bottom part, so you can kind of see if I create that, you can kind of almost see another triangle in that. So just look at this to make it as realistic as possible. Again, sketching lightly. And that's going to be the side of the candy corn. And now I'm going to draw the top of the candy corn, which is another rounded line that's going to meet down here. So once I have that basic outline, I'm going to divide it up into these areas where the yellow meets the orange and where the orange meets the white. So again, trying as realistic as possible. Continue that line onto the side. And these lines are definitely going to be erased because you do not want these showing. And if you color yellow colored pencil over top of pencil, you'll still see that. So obviously there's no pencil lines here, so we don't want these here in the final. It's just for you to understand where you need to make that change from yellow to orange and from orange to white. So once I have that basic shape down, I'm going to look at the picture and look and see where the lightest and darkest values are. So it's evident that the light is coming from the top, which is why there's some reflections here, and also why there's a shadow underneath it, because the light is coming from straight above here, which makes the top part very dark and the side part like a medium dark. So right here where we're using different values, you're going to use the side of your pencil and do a light, press a little bit harder, do a medium, press even harder, do a dark. Okay, notice you don't see any pencil lines, you don't see any actual lines, you're just using the side of the pencil to lay that value down. So I'm going to start with the medium value down here, and I'm just kind of adding it in. And there's actually a reflection. I'm going to switch this out because I drew on that one. There's actually a reflection right here on this edge where the light's hitting it, so I'm going to make sure I don't do any value up at that top area. And then the top of the candy corn, which is on the left side here, is the darkest value. So I'm just laying down pencil, and we're going to color over this pencil using colored pencil to make it darker. So instead of pressing harder with the yellow to make it darker here, we're just layering it on top of this pencil. I also see a little bit of a dark value up here, so I'm going to add that in. Again, using the side of my pencil. Notice my pencil is almost horizontal. If I was writing, like you write your name on paper, you would see my pencil looking like this. You don't see that. I'm using it completely on its side and pressing real lightly. So now there's ridges in this candy corn. I'm not going to create those because that's a little bit more advanced. I know a lot of you guys will be able to do that, so please feel free to experiment on your own. I'm going to do it a little bit more basic where the top is just going to be the lightest value. All right, so I think I'm complete with that. And then if you want to use one of the blending pencils, you can use one of those, and that's just going to kind of smooth out those lines. These are located in the middle table, and so are the colored pencils. You guys might have to share the colored pencils when it comes time to add the colors. Before we layer any colored pencils, make sure you get rid of any pencil lines that you don't want on here. So I'm going to get rid of those lines that are separating the colors. I'll still be able to see them a little bit, but I don't want them to show through when I color my orange and my yellows. Sometimes the colored pencils can erase, not always, so I try to get rid of all of those lines first. And there's no pencil mark on this edge here, so I'm just going to kind of get rid of that. And again, once you erase them, you'll still kind of see where the separation is. You just won't have a pencil line there. And this line is actually the lightest area. And so I just took a yellow and an orange colored pencil. Colored pencils are always sharpened using the hand sharpeners, not the electric sharpeners. So if you need to sharpen them, do that in the cup. I'm going to start with the yellow, and again I'm going to do this by just layering colors on the side. And I might even want more of a yellow-orange. Might see if I can find another yellow. And you're just going right on top of those pencil lines to make it those darker values. I think I'm going to erase this pencil line a tiny bit, make it a little bit lighter. And once you've done all the work with the pencil, you're really just coloring over the whole thing. You don't need to worry about the values because you've already done the values. You can see this line I forgot to erase up here, so we'll see if I can do it now. Doesn't always work. That's why you want to do it first, but it really shows through when you add that colored pencil on top, so try to take care of that before you add the colored pencil. Using the side of the colored pencil, overlapping ovals, and going over all these areas. And like I showed you yesterday with your other candy that you were practicing drawing, you guys can just leave the area of white where there's an obvious reflection. For this, I'm going to actually try and erase some of this colored pencil where this line is here, like I did on the yellow. So, see, this orange doesn't erase as well, but it still gives the illusion of a reflection. And then obviously your white, you're not going to be coloring with the white, so you're just kind of using the values that were given. If you want to use this to make a couple different darker values, darker shades of white, you can do that to blend it in. And then lastly, you're just going to use a charcoal pencil. These are also on the middle table to draw the shadow. And it's kind of a copycat line all the way around here. And this will smear and smudge if you touch it, so try to not touch it if you don't need to. I'm just coloring it in. Make a nice smooth shadow. That helps to ground things, make it look more realistic, make it look more three-dimensional. And once you're finished, or you think you're finished, I want you guys to take a step back and look at it, or have your neighbor hold it up. Ask them what they think, but taking a step back and looking at it from a distance helps you to see it in a different way. There you go.